Hi! So when I asked you guys about a month ago whether you had ever heard of the MixHead plugin, 70% of you said no. So I really wanted to make this video because this plugin is used by and developed in cooperation with one of the most successful pop mixing engineers of the last decade. Its hardware counterpart lists for, well, ridiculous amounts of money sometimes. And there has been a lot of conflicting opinions and recent controversy about this plugin. So let's check out the MixHead plugin by Make Believe Studios and what's happening around it. Let's go! So the mixing engineer that I was talking about in the intro is of course Serban Ghenea, and he mixed some of the biggest records and singles in the last decades. Let's have a look. If we look at his discography, you can see that he's mixed many singles, even as many albums. So these are thousands and thousands of tracks. And they're albums and singles from some of the biggest names in history. For example, Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, also the latest Taylor Swift release, Pearl Jam, David Guetta with One Republic, Pharrell Williams and Miley Cyrus, Kygo, Tate McRae, The Rolling Stones, Taylor Swift again, One Republic, Olivia Rodrigo, and the list goes on and on. Now, even though he's such a big mixer of all these high-profile artists, there's not actually that much known about Serban Ghenea, because he pretty much doesn't do interviews, is not very present in social media or in any of the audio engineering forums. So whenever any kind of information appears about how he does all this work for all these great artists, it's scrutinized and discussed in, for example, a very large Gearspace forum thread that has been visited by one of his assistant engineers. But it's a long thread about techniques he uses, mixes he's done, etc, etc. I'll link the thread in the description so you can have a look. And I will also link any of the other references that I make in this video as well. So check them out. Now you may wonder, how does this relate to the MixHead plugin? Well, in some pictures of Serban, you can see that he's using a pretty old device, an SPL machine head, in his rack of out-of-the-box effects, and I think he's mostly in the box, but apparently he was still using this device out of the box until this plugin was actually released, which he now uses and is also endorsed by him. Now the SPL machine head is a device which is pretty hard to find. Yeah, I found a listing for a ridiculous price. I don't think anybody is ever going to pay this for the machine head. But the machine head is actually meant as a digital emulation of a tape machine, which was developed and released way back in the days when we didn't have enough power in our PCs and Macs yet. So they actually made an outboard effect which ran software as well. So it's digital and it emulated a tape machine. Now in May of 2024, Make Believe Studios, together with Metric Halo and Serban Ghenea, released the MixHead plugin, which is an emulation in software of that already digital emulation in an effects unit. And later on, we're going to check out that plugin, see what it can do, and how it stacks up to another very famous tape emulation that I typically use myself from UAD. But before we dive into that, I have to mention that there was actually quite a lot of controversy about this plugin when it was released. Well, not initially when it was released. Everybody was going crazy about it. And I saw a lot of posts where people really like it and thought that it added some kind of mythical depth to their mixes in a way that other tape emulations didn't so far. For example, Austin Hull from Make Pop Music, I think it was his video in which I first got introduced to this plugin, mentioned that he now uses it on all of his mixes and he really liked it. And there are many posts on that Gearspace forum thread as well, with people raving about the sound of this plugin and also mentioning that the outboard effect and now the plugin is actually quite a big part of the Serban Ghenea sound. Now after that I noticed some reports and videos appearing about the fact that this plugin was really hyped too much, that the same sound and the same effect could easily be obtained by using another plugin, for example a wave shaper, that was mentioned and demonstrated in a video by Paul Third, who's always very good at debunking myths and also being quite critical of overly enthusiastic claims without any solid engineering background, according to him at least. Now that was followed again by a video by Make Believe Studios itself, where they debunked his debunk video, and they show that yes, you could probably get pretty close to the wave shaper in one particular dynamic situation, but it would not behave like the MixHead plugin, because you would need a certain setting of the wave shaper plugin for every level of the signal basically. That's how I understood it at least. Now with all of that controversy happening, I was very intrigued by this plugin, even before the negative reports started coming out. So let's have a look at it, see what it can do. And you can make up your own mind whether this is a useful plugin for you or not. Let's check out our website. So this is the MixHead product page of the Make Believe Studios website. And the plugin looks very much like that device on the pictures with Serban. Buy the rumor, sell the news is the slogan. And you can try it or buy it. And they have a free 30-day demo for all of their products. So that's a pretty long time actually that you can try this plugin out totally free, so you can see whether it suits your needs or not. And if you like it, you can actually buy it afterwards for what's a pretty hefty price by now, because at the moment that price is $179. They used to have an introductory sales of $99, but it's up to the full price now, and that's definitely not cheap. So by all means, I would say make sure you try it out first before you spend this amount of money and are sorry later. And by the way, this video is not sponsored. I did buy this plugin with my own money for the introductory price, and whatever I'm saying here is my opinion. Now, before I go on and dive into the details of this plugin, if you like this video or find it useful at all, please give it a big thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm so that it gets spread to more people. Subscribe to the channel and ring the little bell icon so you get notified when I publish another video. For even more support, you can use the super thanks button below the video or the affiliate links to any of these stores. If you're going to buy anything at these stores anyway, just click an affiliate link of the store that you want to buy at, and I will get a small commission without any additional cost to you, which is highly appreciated. But let's check out the plugin. So this is the MixHead plugin, which I have on the mix bus of a little mix over here. Let me first let you listen to it without the MixHead plugin.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind, finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a pop rock song, and the MixHead plugin is on the mix bus over here in between all my other regular mix bus processing. Now, there is a very detailed video from Make Believe Studios themselves where they explain what kind of processing actually happens in this plugin and in the hardware box before that. But I'll shortly summarize it. That's basically an input gain control and a drive control, and both controls are pretty much clean gain controls that you can use to drive into the circuit, and the more you drive into it, the more audible the effect of it will be. So in that respect, it's kind of like an 1176, which has a fixed threshold, and if you want to get more compression out of 1176, you have to drive into it, and then you can compensate the output to make sure that it doesn't become too loud. That's the same thing for this plugin over here. So what you can also do, if you return to the default input gain, shift control at the same time, you can see that you can increase the input gain and at the same time reduce the output gain. Then you can add more gain by using the drive control, which drives into the first process which is happening in the plugin, which is saturation. So the more you drive into it, the more saturation you will get. After that, there is a very shallow broadband compressor with a soft knee, so it's very subtle. And after that, there is a frequency dependent compressor, which works in a kind of a funny way, because it only looks at frequencies above 5.7K on its sidechain, and then it compresses the frequencies below 5.7K. And what they mention as well is that when you drive it more, it actually morphs into a very fast limiter. So the amount of compression that it's applying is really quite a lot. Now, for all of those processors which I just mentioned, you don't see any controls over here. The only control that you have is driving the signal more into the three processes of saturation, broadband compressor, and frequency dependent compressor, morphing into a limiter. Now, after that, you have a high frequency adjust knob, which when you set it to a positive value, it compensates for the fact that saturation usually reduces the high frequencies in the signal. So in this way, you can get saturation, compression, and still get enough high end in your signal as you want for the sound that you need. Now, after that, you have your output gain, of course, which is also just clean gain. You can set your tape speed to 30 inch, 3.75 inch, which was apparently not available on the original hardware box. And the default is 15 inch. You can activate the plugin with this button. It basically bypasses the plugin in a clean way, which is the same as this bypass button does. You have an input level meter, you have a drive level meter, and you have an output level meter. And basically for the input and output meter, when you see the top LED light up, then you've actually gone past the digital clipping level. So the advice is to stay below that. There's a power button, which does not actually do a lot apart from disabling or activating this little flame animation that you see in the button, which they also got a pretty hard time for the fact that it doesn't actually do anything. But they mentioned that there's so many options to disable and bypass the plugin already. So this is just basically a gimmick. And at the end over here, you see the MBS logo, the Make Believe Studios logo, which bears a remarkable resemblance to the SPL logo, of course, which some people online also thought it was not a particularly good idea. But there you go, that's what's on the plugin now. Now on top, you have the ability here to compare two snapshots of the plugin, A and B. You can blend between A and B even. You have undo and redo for whatever you do in the plugin. You can turn on flyover help here. You can set the plugin to another format, very tiny. showing all controls and somewhere in between. And you can adjust the size to whatever size is best for your screen. I'm fine with 100%. And like I said, there's a bypass button over here. And if you move any of the controls, you can also compare it to the previous setting of the plugin with this compare button over here. Let's set it back to the default and check what that does on this mix. And I'll enable it and bypass it a couple of times so you can hear the difference.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind, finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more silent cries. I'm soaring high where the truth lies.
So I feel it's quite subtle, but it does do something. Let's turn some knobs and see if we can make it a bit less subtle. For example, let's try to drive it a bit more.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind, finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more silent cries. I'm soaring high where the truth lies.
Yeah, it does get a bit more crunchy and more compressed, I feel. Let's try the other tape speeds.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind, finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more...
Yeah, 30-inch is definitely a bit cleaner and 375 is definitely way grittier. So that's clearly also what you would expect from such a lower tape speed. Let's try the high frequency adjust here.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind, finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind.
Clearly audible that you can compensate the high frequency with this control. So I think it's useful to have in the same plugin. Now there are also a lot of presets in here. And these are actually quite a lot of presets for a device with so few controls. But the one that everybody is curious about, of course, is the one from Serban Ghenea. It's called the One. And if you select that one, then the unit actually turns to gold, as in the golden setting. So let's have a listen to what that does on this mix. And I'll start with it off.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind, finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more silent cries. I'm soaring high.
Yeah, I think you can clearly hear the difference there. I'm not sure it's exactly gain matched at the moment, but keep watching because I'm going to put this setting on a couple of mixes now and see how this tape emulation sounds against the tape emulation of the UAD ATR102, a very famous mastering tape machine that UAD emulated as well, and that I've been using personally on my mix bus for quite a while already. So I'm really curious to find out how this matches up. So let's check that out. Now the first mix that we're going to compare is actually the mix that you heard so far as well. So on the one hand I have the MixHead in Serban mode, and on the other hand I have the UAD MBS ATR102 plugin. You can see there's many more controls here as on the MixHead, and I'm using the ultralinear ATR 1-inch 30-inch per second preset here. And I'm not trying to match this to the MixHead or the other way around. I just really like this particular sound of the UAD plugin. So I wonder how the Serban preset on the MixHead compares. But I have a different Cubase project for that comparison because I basically exported these mixes from 3 different projects. So let me open the other Cubase project, where you can see that I have 3 different mixes exported, where one of them was exported with the ATR102 plugin and the other one was exported with the MixHead plugin. So I'll play these and switch between them a couple of times so you can hear whether the sound changes. And these are level matched, of course. But if you want to listen to them in more detail, I've also provided them in the download link below, so you can have an extensive listen to them in your own DAW. If you want to listen for more details or listen to the same section with both plugins or something like that, it's up to you. So let's check out the first one.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind, finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more silent cries. I'm soaring high where the truth lies.
Okay, any preference yet? The second mix is actually part of a live track of my band The Wash that we recorded many years ago. And you can check out links to my band in the description below as well. Any comments or streams, always appreciated of course. But let's check out the difference with the UAD plugin that was used to make the mix, and then when I replaced it with the MixHead plugin. Any differences that you hear, anything that you prefer, put it in the comments below. Now the third mix is a mix that I made from multi-tracks provided by Produce Like a Pro. It's the song Take My Lonely by Jeremiah Jones. So thanks for providing me those multi-tracks and for allowing me to use them in videos. I'll put links to both Produce Like a Pro as well as Jeremiah Jones' social media in the description below. So check them out and let's listen to the differences between these two tape emulations on this track.
I'm so cynical, you're so glass half full. You pick me up when I'm feeling low, down low. You can turn a bad day into a party. How you still love me is a miracle. And if I had to do it all over, you know I would choose you every time I wanna try to make you feel all my love, my one and only. You take my lonely.
So what do you think? Do you like any plugin better in particular? Do you not hear a difference maybe? Do you dislike any of them? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious how you feel about this. If I listen to this, I have to say I do definitely hear a difference. Even though they are level matched, I feel that the MixHead mixes sound more compressed and have more high end and have less low end. That's the one thing I immediately noticed when listening to these mixes. I noticed it less on the second mix of my band The Wash, but on the other two mixes, I clearly hear more low end on the UAD mix and more compression and high end on the MixHead mix. You can also say that the mixes with the MixHead plugin have more glue maybe due to that higher compression that I notice. But let me know how you hear this. Now if you made it this far into this video, you probably really like scrutinizing and listening in detail to the differences between the sound of one plugin versus other plugins. And then you may also be interested in the video that I made in which I did a full mix with the AMAC 1999 plugin from Plugin Alliance versus a mix that I did fully with the Cubase stock plugins. I'll link it over here, check it out, enjoy and see you soon.